Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to take a stroll through one of the most charming neighborhoods in New York City, the West Village. It has beautiful cobblestone streets and a European vibe that makes it very endearing to many. So today I'm going to take you through 5 of the most iconic streets in the West Village. I'm going to tell you about the pros and cons of living on each of them so you get an idea of what it is like if you were to live here. But before we begin, if this is your first time visiting my channel, welcome. My name is Celia Tuller and I'm a licensed real estate salesperson specializing in residential properties in the Chelsea Meatpacking District, the Villages, Flatiron District, Gramercy Park, and Hudson Yards communities. In the event you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or invest in residential properties in either of these neighborhoods and you aren't already being assisted by another agent, it will be my pleasure to help you with the process. Great, so let's get our tour started. We're going to begin our tour on Perry Street. Perry Street is famous thanks to Sex and the City because the exterior of number 66 stood in as Carrie Bradshaw's apartment. Perry Street is known for its picturesque tree-lined setting and 19th century brownstones. Most of them were built in the 1830s and the 1840s. Some of the pros of living on Perry Street are, it's a beautiful residential street with historic homes that are highly sought after. Some of the cons are, due to the fame of Sex and the City, a lot of tourists like to congregate on the street and therefore it takes away from the privacy and creates a lot of noise. So I'm just going to pass by and show you number 66. So that was the front facade for Sex and the City. As you can imagine, real estate on this street is extremely expensive. Townhouses here can cost as much as $20 million. Quite recently, a one-bedroom condo at number 28 Perry Street sold in July for $790,000. Our next stop is going to be a street that's more peaceful and private. So now we're going to head across to Jane Street. So now we're on Jane Street. Jane Street is one of the most exclusive streets in the West Village. The townhouses and brownstones here are known for their elegance and properties can sell for upwards of $30 million. It's a very quiet tree-lined street and is home to a number of high-profile individuals. So the pros of living on Jane Street, you have ultimate privacy and quiet, and the historic homes here are beautifully preserved. So it's very charming. We also have the cobblestones on the street. But of course the con is the exorbitant cost of real estate. So what you're currently looking at is a new condominium development directly across the street from the Jane Hotel at the end of Jane Street across from the Hudson River. Upon completion in 2026, this boutique property will be 11 stories and yield 15 units. So last month, which was September, 3 of these units were offered and they are already in contract. So the units range in price from $14.5 million through $23.25 million. So it's a wonderful location. As I mentioned, you have views of the Hudson River so you can catch the beautiful sunsets, and it's also in walking distance to the Whitney Museum. So now let's take a turn onto another beautiful West Village street that has a lot of old world charm all of on its own, Grove Street. Grove Street is famous for its federal style townhouses. And I'm going to point out to you one of my favorite homes at the end of the street. So it is a former 1830s mansion that is now used as a rental property. So Grove Street, some of the pros are, it's right between Bleecker Street and also Bedford Street. So Bleecker Street, as you know, we have a lot of fine dining and shopping. We also have a few restaurants and businesses on Grove Street, which makes it a very convenient place to live. And as I mentioned, on the opposite end, we have Bedford Street. And Bedford Street, number 90, as you might recall, is very famous because that was the exterior used for Monica's apartment on Friends. Okay. So this magnificent 1830s mansion, as I mentioned to you, is now being used as a rental property. And what is special about it is that it served as a secret stop on the Underground Railroad. It's 4 stories, has 15 units. There's currently a 1-bedroom unit available for $8,950 per month. Before we head across to the more quieter and residential Charles Street, let's have a quick look at 90 Bedford Street at the corner of Grove and Bedford. So in front of you, you see the famous building from Friends, and at the base we have Little Owl Restaurant. As you can imagine, one of the cons about living here, because of the Friends building, we have a lot of tourists who will visit. Our 4th stop is going to be Charles Street. Similar to other streets, Charles Street has elegant brownstones and townhouses. It has a peaceful, laid-back atmosphere and has been a favorite of artists and creative types over the years. I'm going to point out to you a very interesting design farmhouse that dates back to the early 19th century. So we're standing in front of 121 Charles Street, and this farmhouse, we don't know exactly where it came from, but it was built somewhere else and then transported here. So the famous tenant who resided here was the author Margaret Wise Brown of the Goodnight Moon children's book. She rented this home during the late 1940s and early 1950s. So some of the pros of living on Charles Street are, it's very quiet, so you have a very peaceful residential feel, and the homes here are historic and often feature private gardens or roof terraces. Some of the cons are, like the other streets in the area, real estate prices here are very high and parking can be difficult. Our final stop is going to be West 11th Street. West 11th Street is known for its beautiful brownstones and quiet residential vibe. Many homes here are classic examples of Federal and Greek Revival architecture. And we have numerous celebrities that make this street home, so it's even more prestigious. So the pros are, it's a very quiet residential atmosphere, while it's very close to other amenities the West Village offers. The cons, however, like most historic streets, renovations can be expensive and due to preservation laws. We also have limited car parking on this block. So that wraps up our tour of 5 of the most iconic streets in the West Village. From famous Perry Street to the quiet, luxurious Jane Street, each has its own unique charm. Whether you're looking for history, privacy, or just a beautiful place to call home, the West Village offers it all. Let me know in the comments which was your favorite street. And of course, until the next time, you take excellent care of yourself, and I look forward to you joining me again for another wonderful tour of one of the neighborhoods I serve. All the best.